Nicole Pierce, and I'm here for Career Conversations with Nicole. I have one of my good friends on the call, Catie Scott. Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us. Yeah, so Catie is actually at PYA, and she is the Director of Talent and Acquisitions. I'm excited to have you today. Why don't you first, before we get started on the actual topic, why don't you tell us about PYA?
Awesome. Well, great. I'm really proud to talk about PYA. I've been here almost 5 years. I manage experience, hire recruiting, and then campus recruiting. Of course, we have a team here, and it's a great team. But PYA, we are a public accounting and national healthcare consulting firm. We serve clients in all 50 states, and we have offices in Atlanta, Knoxville, Nashville, Tampa, and Kansas City. Been in business for over 35 years, and our focus is integrity, responsiveness, and relationships. So, and I think what's really neat about PYA is we have an entrepreneurial culture that's built on collaboration. So a fun way to do public accounting and consulting.
Oh, I love that. Built on collaboration. That's awesome. So today's topic I think is going to be awesome. We're going to talk about how to build career relationships in a virtual world. And this could not be more relevant, right? So why don't you tell us why it's important?
Yeah, I think, it's a unique time for all, but the pandemic is not affecting people building relationships. This is continuing to happen regardless. The question, though, Nicole, is how to do it virtually and establish that personal relationship that will lead to future discussions, whether it be for networking or job purposes or even for classes. I think a lot of the students, are coming to us, focus on internships and full-time job opportunities, especially at this time of year as we approach the fall campus recruiting season. People are likely to be more receptive to networking, given that everyone's becoming more adaptable. So that's something to consider, that there might be more willingness. People have potentially more time as they're not commuting. So I think there is increased desire to help networking.
And that's a great point, because people realize that they're trapped at home, that they want to do it, right?
Yes, well said. If anything, I think we're a little bit starved for that human connection, just being that we are home at more. I feel like, at least at PYA, we might have done more phone at the beginning, back in March, and now it's video all the time, which I love. I love seeing my colleagues, I love seeing candidates, and I love seeing you.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree.
So back to your point about the steps, when you're ready to start networking, you really want to have a goal in mind. What is the purpose of your networking conversations? Is it just to learn more about a certain field? Is it to land an internship or job at X company? So really have that goal in mind. Additionally, your LinkedIn profile, make sure it's up to date. Have a photo. It's always interesting when there's not a photo. It is very helpful. And most importantly, have your LinkedIn tell a story. That's your profile. Tell a story about yourself. Your degree, relevant work experience, even hobbies. And then additionally, your resume, I'd recommend having that updated, have it reviewed by your career services department, friends, a mentor, whoever it might be. But as you're getting ready to prepare for these conversations, the individual that you want to network with is likely going to want to learn more about you prior to the call, and vice versa. So if you have both of these items updated, it should help the conversation flow.
How do you choose who to network with once you get prepared and ready?
That's a great question. And really, you want to give some thought to that. Think through, people that whether it be other students, mentors, family, friends, reach out to your accounting professors, whoever it may be, and ask them to think through their networks. And then ideally, it'd be great if those individuals can introduce you to the individual with whom you want to network, just to kind of facilitate the conversation. I would recommend not asking to be introduced to everyone in their networks. You really want to be focused, because as it is, these contacts are doing you a favor by taking the time to introduce you. So you want to be mindful of that. And additionally, one thing I would really encourage is, given that, we are largely virtual now, is to think through, what you can participate in, from meetings on campus or off campus, whatever it may be, because there might be connections there. So think through your clubs, think through your Beta Alpha Psi, whoever it may be, and the mentors there, and who they might what connections you might be able to leverage there as well.
Yeah, so the part that I took from this that sounds amazing is that really doing the work on the front side, right, of setting the goal will drive how and who you attempt to get connected with. So it really just pulls that all together. I love it.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah. So how do you go about trying to schedule these meetings and when to have the meeting? And so now you've got the introduction. Now what happens?
Well, great question, Nicole. I'd really leverage email and LinkedIn. Review your emails before you hit send. Ask others to review your emails. You want to make a warm introduction. Really, again, include that goal, that purpose of why you'd like to talk to this individual. Maybe even something about their profile, or what your friend has said about them that appeals to you and what you'd like to learn more about. That goes a long way in just showing your interest. And then also, as I would recommend being overly available in time, because this individual is likely very busy that you want to network with. So you might want to be flexible. And now that you have the meeting scheduled, you might, some additional things to consider are, preparing, researching the people you're meeting with, like we've said today. Opt for video over phone, because that goes a long way in just seeing the individual and establishing that rapport, and then practicing via video with a friend. And when you're practicing, ensure that there's, good lighting behind you, minimal distractions, that your Wi-Fi works, things like that.
So awesome. So now what they're really doing is kind of scheduling these meetings that they probably would have had in person, and now they've just got to be ready to accept them in this virtual environment, which is really going to be the only true difference, I think.
Yep.
Well, and now that I'm thinking through it, actually, the other main difference, students, and I think you got to hear this, is Catie's whole point is you have to be intentional about it. Whereas before, some of the networking would have just taken place at some of the events on campus, or employers would have been on campus, and that's not going to be taking place this fall. So the intentionality really falls back onto the students.
It's just an additional way to kind of set yourself apart. And in the unknown with the fall, just given the format, there's time to prepare. And we are home more, much of us. So there's additional time there too that you can leverage. So
I like it. Well, what about the follow-up? Because most importantly, I think that follow-up is probably going to be huge, and students, I think, will kind of let this kind of fall off, because when you think of networking, you think of it being casual. You know, it's not like a formal interview where the follow-up is super routine.
Yeah, that's so true, Nicole. And you really want to make sure that how you personify yourself during the video meeting comes through in that follow-up email. So, when you're dressing professionally via video, maintaining the eye contact, smiling, being authentic, being confident but not overly confident, not too casual, that follows through in the tone of your email. So again, would encourage you to draft an email and ask others to review it. Incorporate things that you've discussed via video or via email, some reflection of the fact that, hey, I heard what you said and I'm taking it to heart. Additionally, include follow-up items, things you plan to do that were recommendations from the contact. That goes a long way. And then last but not least, connect with the individual on LinkedIn, because once you're connected, then your network then expands and includes theirs, and it's that whole spiderweb effect of connectivity.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. So, no, that's great. So students, what you need to take from that is that when you do the follow-up, you need to ensure to make it personal, right? And put some sort of action item that they recommended. I think that's so good. Well, Catie, this has been awesome. Do you have any last minute advice, last minute thoughts that you want to throw out to the students? If not, it's not a big deal, but yeah.
No, thank you for having me today, Nicole. I would say, it's a work in progress. We're all continually learning and honing our skills on networking. It's not, yeah, great, I had a good fall, or I made a couple of introductions, done. It's a lifelong pursuit, which makes it fun. You're continuously learning better ways to become connected with others and to become better at networking. So keep that in mind too. No one's perfect.
Oh, I love it. Well, and I love that it's a lifelong kind of journey, because you will. You're right. It'll be going on forever. Well, I appreciate you today. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I love seeing you. And until I can see you in person, we'll have to do this again sometime.
I like that. I appreciate you as a person and our relationship with the firm and Kennesaw State. So thank you, Nicole.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.